Hey everyone, I am back to talk about the Kansas City Bikini Pro Show that just happened. I am super excited about it because I'm from Kansas City, and since I've been following the sport, there hasn't been, which was like 2020, there hasn't been a Bikini Pro Show in Kansas City, so I was super pumped about that because that's where I'm from. I don't know if I already said that. I've tried filming this video like 3 times and keep doing the same intro. So anyway, very excited. It makes me want to do the show myself, so I hope that in the next few years that it gets enough attendance that they will continue to put this show on so I can have the opportunity to compete there. So let's go over the results. So my front runner for this show, it was hard to say, but it was between Brittany and Ndeye, and then if Cassandra came in, right? But it was mainly between Brittany and Ndeye. My considerations were if Ndeye can fix her front pose, then I think she could win. Like, I think she could win any show, really, if she fixes her front pose. And Brittany, I just think she can win because of her striking look. She just went to the Olympia. But it's harder with Brittany, like I've said, because she doesn't really say what her feedback is, aside from what I've mentioned, which is that she said she could stand to build more glutes. That's what some judges have told her. So I don't know what her feedback was on this particular show. We can see if she said anything. But I was excited to see if she... see she was on this list for the show because she said that last week's show was the last one of the season, and then she appeared on the list for this. So I'm just trying to see if she said anything. Oh yeah, okay, here, what'd she say? On her story. She's not like texting me. Okay. Okay, her coach says smaller waist, check, fuller delts, check, conditioning, check, fuller glutes, check, more conditioned glutes, check. Okay, so those were the improvements she's made since the beginning of the year. It's her pro show, like her pro win this year to this past show. And yeah, this is crazy. So good for her. I don't know what she was supposed to work on based on the results of the show, but yeah. So let's get into everyone. So, you know, I love to say the real battle is shown on the scorecards. Between 3rd and 5th place. The scores were super tight there. The 1st and 2nd place, it was a perfect score. And I do have a live stream that Savannah Sharp, thank you Savannah Sharp, was doing from her phone from the audience. So we can look through that a little bit. It's not like not the best. I mean, she wasn't using a straight up like photographer's camera to do this, and she's not in the center, but it was like close enough that we were able to see some stuff, so we will probably look at that. But yeah, let's get into the show. So Ndeye won, and she really fixed her front pose, which I was thrilled to see. So we're gonna pull her up, and then we're gonna pull up Brittany right next to her. But yeah, there are still some improvements I would like to see made with that front pose, but it is like, what am I going to say? Remarkably better? I don't know what I'm trying to say. But it is far better than it's been in the past. So here was her front pose at this show. She's not doing the thing that we didn't want, which was facing super, super profile, like she has a tendency to do. So we will pull that up, which looks like this. So we wanted Ndeye to open up a little bit so we can see more of that hourglass shape. And she really delivered on that at this show. The one thing that I would change from what she did is she was hunched over. Like, I think for her, it's just going to be a matter of back mobility so she can land in these poses easily. Where'd the other picture go? Oh, was it just right here? I don't know. Okay. So here she is at the Kansas City show. You'll notice that she is a little bit more hunched over, but she's opened up more. So we are actually able to see some of the front of her suit bottom here. We're able to see the hourglass shape because she's nice and open up. Her arm is close to her glute, which really frames her glute. This is something we always talk about. And we're able to see balance and conditioning and shape on her lower body in this new pose, because her hips are actually turned more towards the judges. So I was very happy with this. Still, I would like her to stand straighter up because she is hunched forward. And when you hunch forward like this, it makes the waist look thicker. We can see here in her last show last week that she has a tiny, tiny waist, but she isn't angled properly. But at this show, she's opened up and she's really sitting into her hip, which is also making her waist look thicker. But she has a tiny waist anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. The only issue I have with it, not the only issue, I just named a few issues, but one of the issues I have is it just looks like you're a little uncomfortable when you're hunched over like this and really sitting hard into your hip. So yeah, that is the feedback I would have on her front pose, but that's the only thing. All she has to do is stand straighter up, and that's it. Like, I think this is a great front pose. And standing straighter up will also make her not sit into her hips so much. Well, you would have to do both, but yeah, even if she had stood straighter up, it would be good. And she could probably angle this toe a little bit less at the judges. It just looks a little bit uncomf, but it's great. Like, she still is looking great. Congratulations on qualifying. And I like this blue on her. I like it better than the green, I think. Okay. And let's look at her back pose. So her back pose is always really good. The thing that I wanted her to change from the back pose is, oh, there's the other picture of Ndeye. Okay, it was right there. I knew you guys would probably be sitting there being like, Sam, we know exactly where it is. Open your eyes. Okay, so there it is. So let's pull up her back pose from last show to this show. So what I wanted her to change was not pointing out her elbows so much, because it just looks like forced. And I wanted her to not point them out so much, move her hands lower down on her legs, and or just angle her elbows at the judges more. And it looks like if she took me up on a suggestion, she took me up on angling the elbows at the judges more here. So I think this is a way stronger pose. She could still probably bring her hands in a little bit on her legs so I don't see her bracelets, but it's fine. Like, this doesn't look much different than someone who I always reference, because I think that her back pose is so stunning. Ashlyn Little, NPC. So this is really looking similar to me to Ashlyn's back pose in terms of how her arms are. Like how much she's pushed back with it. This isn't a great example. I don't think she's fully posed here, but you know what I mean. So yeah, good for Ndeye. And let's pull her picture up next to Brittany Gillespie. I think my boyfriend's home, and I feel so awkward when he hears me either on the phone or making videos, obviously. So I feel the need to whisper, even though he's very supportive, so I just need to chill. Okay, so let's pull them up next to each other. Here they are. It doesn't look like Brittany is fully posed in that photo, so let's just pull up the comparisons from the actual show. Because her shoulder is, like, way sloping off there, which... yeah, okay, this is a better representation of how her shoulder was. Because in this photo, I, like, can't see her shoulder at all. It looks, like, triangular up top and not, like, hourglass up top. So, yeah, here they are next to each other. I think that... so the scorecard is a perfect score. And I think, just based on these pictures, which aren't, like, the best, I would say that the reason Ndeye won is because she's just... I would say in this lineup, she was kind of the average of everyone in the lineup. So, like, Cassandra came in a little softer, and she got 4th place. And again, it was really tight between 3rd and 5th place. So yeah, I think Brittany was probably just the most muscular out of the group, and Ndeye was the most balance of all factors. So her posing improved. Her conditioning looks great. She doesn't look too hard or too soft by any means. And she's not, like, super muscle dominant, even though she has, like, a lot of muscle. So I would think that was kind of the deciding factor there. It's hard to know. But here she is compared to Brittany. I think that Ndeye probably just looks a little bit more balanced and doesn't have, like, as much of the freak factor, which says a lot because Ndeye does have freak factor. But compared to Brittany, like, Brittany is just so bubbly and, like, so full that it plays down how much of a freak Ndeye is, which, again, she is. So, yeah, I would think that's it, but it's really hard to know. I mean, maybe they would want Brittany to tighten up on her tie-ins a little bit, but I'm really just kind of grasping at straws and trying to make sense of the scoring. In my head, it could probably go either way. I really felt for Brittany because She's done like a lot of shows to qualify for this next year's Olympia, and I'm sure she will qualify next year. But it would be nice for her if she wants to build her glutes, which is what she said she's going to do. It would be nice if she could have as much time as possible to do that. But Ndeye also, it's a great comeback because she like wasn't placing as well. Or was she? Maybe I made that up. Let's see how Ndeye was placing. Okay, yeah, she was placing well. She just wasn't clinching that win. Did I use clinching right? I feel like I did. So, yeah, it was nice to see Ndeye qualify after taking, like, a significant amount of time off relative to her. Like, last year, she was competing a lot back-to-back throughout the year. And then this year, she cut down as how much she competed and then got her win. So, she really killed it. I'm very excited for her. Okay, and now let's get into Brittany's physique. So like I said, in this photo, it's not as, she's not turned as much, but also these photos are taken from a really low angle, so maybe that's why. But I think Brittany super improved. I thought Hawaii personally was her best look of the year. I can't tell based off these pictures if this was her best look of the year. I do like how she's posing her front pose a lot better at this show because her foot isn't as far out. I think the reason she puts her foot far out usually is or maybe it is just as far out. I'm not sure, I can't tell. But I think the reason she does that is to balance her physique because she's very wide, like up top, because she has a lot of width to her shoulders based on her muscle. It's not even that she has a super wide clavicle or anything. But yeah, I don't really know what I would change with Brittany as usual. I feel like it's just a matter of continuing to show up and I guess building glutes like the judges told her. So yeah, I think that is my take there. Yeah, I can't get over her Hawaii look. She just looked so radiant and beautiful. Okay, getting into her back pose, super full. I wonder if it was just like too full according to the judges. I have no idea. I really don't know. Let me know what you think because I would like some clarity from you. Okay, and then China Melton, it was her pro debut. So let's look at China compared to Ndeye and kind of see what some of these differences are. So here is China in her front pose. Is that all the way posed? Okay, so China looked incredible. She really stood out in the lineup. I would say she might be a little bit too forward facing here. I would like her to snake her waist away so I don't see as much of the abdomen in front of her suit bottoms as a result. So yeah, angle away a little bit just so we get more of this like hourglass shape that we're seeing with Ndeye. When you're opened up this much, she still has hourglass, which says a lot because if you're in this pose and you still have hourglass, that's huge. It means you have great muscle and structure. But if she turns away a little bit, you would see more of this exaggerated cinching into the waist. So I think that could be improved. And for her, it's just going to be overall more muscle, I think. So let's look at her back pose. Her back pose really stood out. It was reminding me a lot of Ashley Kay because maybe it's the green suit, I don't know. But the way her glutes tie into her hamstrings like this and her hamstrings still look super full without getting any detail in them is really, really striking. So where is she different from Ndeye here? She's just overall softer than Ndeye, but she doesn't really have the choice to come in much tighter than this. Otherwise, I think it would take away from some of the volume in her muscle because she just needs more muscle overall, probably. And not even a significant amount, but just like more than she currently has. And I will pull up, what I'm talking about with Ashley Kay so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, for her, it's just going to be more muscle. I like the suit color. Let's see. Okay, so here is Ashley in her back pose. And she was super full at the Olympia, so maybe we'll pull up, like, Vancouver. Okay, so here's Ashley's glutes compared to China's. So, yeah, just very similar insertions, and again, the green suit. So I think this is a really beautiful, strong back pose. She'll probably just need more upper outer here, which will also help her get some more overall projection when she's leaner. But, yeah, so very excited for China. And let's look at how she looked in the lineup. her front pose was way better in the lineup. So this was better. She is leaning forward like that, which we don't really want. I also think she could add a soft bend to the knee, and that would give her more balance from top to bottom, because right now all this negative space in between her knees is making her look more bell-shaped than hourglass. But that's very minor. It's not even extreme. And here she is in the back pose. It's not really giving us a good idea. But let's look at how she looked at this show compared to her pro win. So she got second place to earn her pro card at NBC Universe after winning the overall at the DC Pro-Am, which always reminds me of Allie Vathauer and how Allie won the DC Pro-Am after like doing multiple national shows the year prior. Took a little bit of time to grow, and then she came out, won the overall at DC Pro-Am, and then won the overall at Junior Nationals, and then gotten the first call out at the Olympia this year after like just going pro last year. So here she is. Here she was when she won her pro card. She needed to be a little bit tighter. Maybe she could have gotten that first place if she got a little bit tighter. Who knows? Let me look at who won. I feel like the person who won the overall is who beat her in her height class. But yeah, I, before the show, just figured she needed to get a little tighter, and she did a great job of doing that. And let's look at her front pose here. So yeah, just adjusting the posing, being a little tighter in the legs here, and maybe adding a slight bend to that knee. So there is that compared to her front pose at this show. Oh, this one is better. So her front pose wasn't consistent. You want your front pose to be the same from the first time they see it to after you turn around from coming from the back. And it worked in her favor this time, because I think this was a better showcasing of her front pose than the other one, but maybe we didn't get to see all the pictures and she did land it properly the first time. So yeah, getting tighter really makes all her muscles pop way better. Good for her. Okay. I'm so paranoid my boyfriend's listening. Which makes me feel embarrassed. Okay, I need to look inward and figure that out. So, Cassandra. You know I've been excited about Cassandra this season. I like this color a lot. What do I think could be improved? So, let's look at this back pose. I think it's just overall getting tighter. And let's look at these scorecards again. So China, it was 2 points between her and China. So very tight, but not as tight as the race between her and Steph. So we will compare those two against each other. So here's Cassandra. I think she looks great. Again, I really want these suit bottoms to be higher because it's just so dangerously low to seeing the pubic region, which I don't love. I think she could angle her elbows at the judges a little bit more, like we were talking about with how Ndeye did that. And you can tell she's a little bit soft based on how close her glutes are to touching each other right here. They're kind of creeping over the suit. So I think if she were a little tighter, then she would get a lot more pop. Unfortunately, she just hasn't come in her normal conditioning this season, which is a major bummer because she is a formidable competitor. And I think that her low abs could be a tiny bit tighter. I don't know. It looks like she's holding some water to me in the low body. I think the hair could also be shorter, and I want it all off her shoulders here. But yeah, I think she just needs to be tighter. That's the main thing. And then let's look at her next to her previous showing when she was doing really well last year. Okay, that's Sandra. And then if we look at, it was this year. She just hasn't competed in a while. So yeah, here's where she got second. And she just has a lot more pop when she's tighter. So I think that's it. And looking at the front pose, same thing. She doesn't look like she's holding water here like she is in the pictures that we just looked at. So yeah, I think it's a body fat thing and a holding water thing. Okay. But hair, makeup, suit, I think is really pretty. Just that adjustment to the suit itself, I think would really benefit her. Okay, so I said we would look at Cassandra and Steph next to each other. So let's pull Cassandra up again. But here is Steph. Congratulations on getting this 5th place. She looked fantastic. I think I said in my last video that she just needed to be a little bit tighter and we would get a better idea of where she really stacks up. So here she is and next to Cassandra. And again, it was just that 1 point difference. So yeah, great hourglass shape here. I would say that I want her to angle her toe at me more like we're seeing with Cassandra, because I feel like the way she's standing right now is just making the side of her leg here look like one kind of washed out plane. If she were to angle her toe more, she would probably get this a little bit of definition down the leg. Everyone leans out differently, so I can't guarantee that's what it would look like, but I think it would make her look more balanced, because as she is right now, I think she looks a little bottom heavy, which takes away from the balance they're looking for in bikini. I also think she could angle this knee towards the judges a little bit more, just slightly, because this leg is looking really small in comparison to this leg. So if she even just did the toe angling, she would look more balanced, but I'd be curious to see what all that looks like put together. And I think she's also sitting into her hip. I can't tell for sure. It's not like her waist is looking wide or anything, which is usually a big tell for that. But yeah, there's just something about this front pose that I want to see adjusted. Makeup looks beautiful. Hair looks really pretty. We'll see the length from the back. I think the suit bottom is a little bit too low in the front though, and it's too wide here. We need some more coverage right here. That is a gripe I have with some of the suits that she normally wears. So just a little more coverage could also balance her physique, because we're seeing like a lot of plane of skin here. And yeah, it just makes you don't want to have a nip slip, If you do, that's fine, but you don't want to have that if you can avoid it, which you can't avoid it. So yeah, she could pull the cups in closer. I don't know if they're like tacked down with like thread, if they're sewn down. But yeah, we just need that to be a little bit closer. Okay, and then, yeah, upper body looks good. You can just tell, though, that she has more definition up here than she does in the lower body, which reads as an imbalance. So I think Cassandra overall looks more balanced. Her conditioning is the same everywhere, even though she is a little bit soft. So yeah, I think that's where she edged Steph out. And looking at Steph's back pose, I think she just needs more glutes. So I've heard her say that she doesn't need more upper body, like that's what judges have told her. But my take on Steph's back pose is that she poses really narrow. I would like to see her open up these shoulders more. She has a ton of muscle. Let's see what her lats look like from the front, because then we'll have a better idea of like, yeah, she has good lats. So she just needs to spread those a little bit so we can see some hourglass shape. And the way she has her hair is not really helping, because it's so voluminous that it's swallowing up her physique up here, including her shoulders. If it were just swallowing up the upper back, that would be fine. But it's just covering too much to where it's taking away from the hourglass shape. Because I'm sure she has hourglass shape in this pose, but that's only a guess. The judges can't judge what they can't see. So she needs shorter hair and maybe less volume. So whether that's like looser curls or less extensions or whatever it is, she just needs a little bit less there. And I've talked about that with choosing stage presentation, like how you should wear your hair on stage. If you are a smaller frame and you wear a lot of extensions and it starts to wear you instead of you wearing the hair, then it becomes a problem because it makes you look too small. So yeah, less hair. Spread the lats a little bit more, and then I think she needs some more overall size to this lower body. We're seeing a lot of detail in these hamstrings, and the glutes just look like they need some more volume. And that is going to come from muscle for her. I'm just going to assume that she came in with a perfect peak. Like, that's all I can really guess. And assuming she came in with a perfect peak, I think it just is going to come down to more muscle, because her legs are just kind of flowing straight into her glutes here, and we want there to be more distinction like we see with Cassandra. So her glutes are tapering into her legs instead of going straight into them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would just more size, including in the hamstrings. So I would say glutes and hamstrings, more size. And she has great calves, which kind of accentuates the fact that she needs a little bit more ham and glute. But I am a major fan of Steph, so I hope she has a great improvement season whenever she decides to take it. There's one more show in the United States, which is where she lives, and that is going to be this weekend, I think, here in California. And I would honestly like to see Brittany do that too. I know she just moved to Texas because I'm a stalker and I stalk all the people that are competing regularly. So I would like to see her do the show in California if she can, but who knows? She's a nurse, so who knows if she's able to get off work. But that show is the Battle of the Bay. Oh, and it's in 2 weeks. Oh, it's just Masters? No. Is it? I can't tell. Let's look this way. But yeah, so if that is an open Bikini Pro show, I would love to see her do it, because I would love to see her get her qualification for next year, before this year ends. And Union City, Open and Masters. So yeah, I would love to see her do that show. So good luck to Brittany. Congratulations to Ndeye. Is there anyone else we want to look at while we're here? Let's look at Kimber, Brittany Schulman. Yeah, okay, with Kimber, she looked great. I think for her it's going to be just more muscle. I think she's like 5'7" or like 5'11" or something. But yeah, she looked really pretty. And her glutes looked like incredibly full. So yeah, I think that's everything. If you have any questions or disagreements, thoughts, concerns, comments, let me know. And thank you guys so much for liking my videos. It makes me feel so good about myself. And it's encouraging to continue doing them. So thank you so much. And I hope everybody has a lovely Thanksgiving.